Hey guys, I'm Force and I'm joined today by Robbie. And like last time, we have decided to make a tier list for the upcoming OP09 meta to help people choose what leader to play. But different from last time, we have decided to include only leaders that are relevant to the metagame. So this video is gonna be much shorter than last time. And yeah, let's dive right into it.
Yeah, so we're only going over all the meta relevant leaders and all the OP8 and OP9 leaders as well,
Mm-hmm.
even though not all OP8 leaders are the best. But let's start from the start. OP1.
OP1. Yeah. Uh,
We have Zoro.
we have Zoro.
Um,
Uh,
Personally, I've never been a big fan of red decks, but Zoro to me is probably one of the most viable ones outside of Shanks.
yeah.
Um, Aggro leader speaking, it's a lot stronger than the likes of Sanji,
Mm-hmm.
I believe, but it still has its weaknesses. You do have like a very good Blackbeard matchup,
Mm-hmm.
but you will struggle a lot against Shanks, all your yellow decks,
Black,
um,
especially.
and other non-teach black decks like Lucci or
Mm-hmm.
Gecko Moria.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Zoro goes much wider than Sanji. That's why I think he's better. But I don't think he gets anything new in OP10. Maybe like the tank of Shanks. But
Not in OP9. In OP10, I think you
no,
still have
I
your
meant
like
OP9. Sorry.
yeah, OP10 you have like the new Shanks event that can potentially replace Rat Beam, but in OP9, unfortunately, the Animal Kingdom package didn't get too much. Maybe you'll
Mm-hmm.
see some success in the upcoming structure deck, the Gear 5, but
Yeah,
nothing as of yet. I would
there's a
say
much more
it's a
better meta
it's a
content.
solid tier 3 deck. If you
I
can bring it
agree.
to an event and it can do well sometimes
In
if you
locals,
spiral your
it
matchup.
can go to even tier 1.5, but in like big events, I don't think it make it past tier 2.
Yeah, the Doflamingo matchup is a little it can be a little rough as well. But
Mm-hmm.
it's definitely a winnable one if you see like the likes of if you want to play Otama to help with the matchup, or if you want to play
Yeah.
if you just want to play and get lucky and hopefully they hit no gym base, then the matchup is definitely winnable.
For counter events and GG. Next
um,
up, Red Green Law.
Red Green Law. It's one of those decks that it scales with player skill,
Very much so.
which it's the case for some decks. I think like Reiju is another one, Teach is another one. They skill directly. Nami as well.
Mm-hmm.
They skill more with player skill
Vega Punk.
rather than how good the deck actually is. Um, I think a lot of people just won't be able to pilot the deck properly, but in a in a very ideal world, I would say this is like a tier 2 deck. You can beat the likes of um, Black Yellow Luffy, you can beat the likes of Nami's, Smoker even, and El Katakuri are all decent matchups for the
I feel
deck.
like
But
everything that Zoro loses to Red Green Law just loses to even harder right now.
yeah, but you beat a lot of the matchups that Zoro cannot beat, right? Like you don't struggle as hard into like Doflamingo
Mm-hmm.
as Zoro would. Um,
But I still feel it's like
your
a very unwinnable matchup.
your Teach matchup is a little weird. Um, but you like if you play perfectly, I believe like you're still kind of fine. The alongside the Luffy's, I think like it's actually a really good matchup for you. The deck has like no consistency issues nowadays. With like
Mm-hmm.
you can play um upwards of 8 the to search for your Nami, and you can have 4 Nami, and you can have upwards of 8 Supernova searches with Bonnie and
Yeah,
the OP07 more pizza.
yeah, more
So
pizza is
I
good.
think like probably like a low tier 2 or like high tier 3 deck.
I think it's high tier 3.
Uh,
Like the same Zoro. Next up, Blue Doffy, the deck everyone's
yeah.
been talking about.
Blue Dofi, I feel like the deck kind of runs into the issue of a lot of decks surrounding it, kind of beating it at the moment. In the current format, it does not get anything new next format, and the way the deck's currently being built, I feel that it will lose to Teach.
It
With
definitely.
the Jozu build with like no Grav Blaze, no Red Rocks, definitely loses to Teach. Um, Next format feels like a lot of
Big guys.
like a big circle, right? And Doflamingo's kind of at the center of it. You can build to beat Shanks, you can build to beat Blackbeard, but you're
Lose to
always like
everything
losing
else.
to something. Yeah, like there's your yellow matchup gets significantly better next set. Um, when I say yellow, I mean like Vega Punk
I
or
know.
NL. Yeah, there's no aggro Vega Punk, and I think you can kind of build with like no like minimal Josus, no grab blades, and like some number of red
I
rocks.
feel like next set, just
Um,
because there's so many big 10 drops, we're gonna have to run red rocks in the blue Dolphins.
yeah, like you need to when the promo buggy comes out, you'll need to red rock that. The Shanks, you need to red rock the new 10 cost Shanks.
Definitely.
7 cost Foxy is a problem for the deck, along with like things like Yamato and Katakuri or Ace that like Vegapunk or NL might be
Mhm.
playing.
Even
But
Marco's 7 beard into Rayleigh is devastating for the deck.
yeah, seven beard is very strong against Doflamingo, and 7 cost Jack the for black.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's definitely still in like a top 3 deck.
No,
Top 3, top
nonetheless, the
4
deck
deck.
is very strong.
Yeah, it is a very hard deck to pilot. It's a very low skill floor, but it's got like a very high skill ceiling.
Hmm.
Um, I would maybe like it's probably like a third best deck, I believe.
To the best deck. I think it's in the top out there. We're gonna see a lot of players top in events with.
Yeah, it's a big meta contender for sure.
Hmm. Move on to OP2.
Yep.
From OP2, I see we have only Whitebeard and Smoker.
Yeah. Whitebeard and Smoker, the 2 decks that got new structure decks.
Yep.
Unfortunately for Whitebeard, I think the Whitebeard deck is probably the worst one out of the set.
Mm,
For Whitebeard anyway. Other decks just kind of use the tools they got better.
yeah.
Um, the
I
Ace
feel
is
like
being
the starter
ramped in
deck
other
was made
decks.
for Marco.
Yeah, like the Ace is really good. The Whitebeard's really good, but it got like a 3-4 cost unit that's like when attacking at the end of your turn, like you don't have to take your life,
Mhm.
which is like I feel like it's everything that Whitebeard doesn't want to be doing. The full structure deck's kind of like it's confused on like its own identity. Um, definitely, I don't think it's going to be meta relevant. Like you have a very bad Doflamingo matchup.
Mhm. You think it loses to Shanks? Because the 6k is very annoying for the Shanks leader.
At some point into the game, Shanks can kind of just play out a load of big guys, kind of like NL, and then you have like access to like a lot of counter events
Mm-hmm.
as well. I would I would stick this in non-relevant, absolutely.
And non-relevant.
Yeah, like maybe like tier 5, I guess.
I feel like
But
it's
like
gonna be like tier 5 at least.
yeah, I mean like see in the non-relevant decks, like there are still decks that can like do stuff. You know, like I'm
Yeah,
seeing
definitely.
Crocodile and Birdcage Dofi, like they're and Ace. They're like real decks, sure, but like tier 5, bottom of the barrel
Rebecca is there.
for sure. Smoker.
Smoker. Oh, Smoker starter deck really boosted this deck. It kind of died for a few sets, but it got revived by it. That
I think Smoker is actually a very big meta contender from next set. The 5 cost Tashigi on play minuses something by 4, I think, or 5.
mm-hmm.
If your leader is Smoker.
Yeah, activate main trash of zero
Activate main
cost.
trash is at 0 cost, which is like it
Go
beats Blackbeard for
goes
sure.
around Burgess. Yeah.
Yeah, it trashes Burgess, and then it's not an on-play trash. So you like if you pair it with something like an Ice Age,
Mm-hmm.
you can kill a Burgess or something.
Yeah, it goes around
Also, it
Lakiru.
being a 5 cost is actually quite relevant against Blackbeard. Blackbeard, although they have Laboon, you really want to be playing a Van Augur. You want to develop a Van Augur plus Doku,
Mm-hmm.
which kills a 4 cost. Van Augur being a 5/6 makes it easier to defend than a Laboon, and the on KO draws you a card. So it just means like when you go play the Laboon and they swing like 5 into 5, it feels really bad defending it, where Van Augur is a little different because it draws you a card as well.
Yeah.
Um, I believe it's like purely because of the Blackbeard matchup. I believe I would put it in tier 1.5.
Tier 1.5.
You're not like it's not terrible in the Shanks either because you're swinging for 7 every turn.
Mm-hmm.
Where ideally you're swinging for 7
If
every
the,
turn.
if the Shanks plays
And
the
then
searcher.
yeah, your Dofi matchup could be like a little rough. But like I don't think it's completely lost. Maybe it's like a 55-45 if you play like 3-cost bricks.
Yeah, the Brook is really good.
Yeah,
And I
like
don't know if the
Tashigi
deck
being
plays Jack, but Jack's
it
also
does.
some.
It plays like 2 copies of Jack now.
Yeah.
I believe like you'll probably up it to like 3 or 4 next set just because
Mm-hmm.
of Teach.
How do you think Smoker's faces against like the purple Luffy or the red purple Luffy? Like spam big guys
I
after
think
big guys.
every black deck will just struggle against purple Luffy just in general. Smoker more so than Lucci because you're only playing out one guy a turn. Like, no, sorry. You're only
Destroying.
clearing one guy
Yeah.
a turn. Where like purple Luffy, like on your 7 Don, is still very strong with like Luffy Taro the Sword Journal.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not big on the red purple Luffy deck. I think that deck just loses to way too many things. Like I think it beats Shanks, but in the meta, and that's it. Teach is like a lot harder for you than you if you would play like purple Luffy, and like you're not rushing to 10 drop like black purple either. So it's like
I
I
guess.
don't see the point in playing that deck over purple Luffy. 3 life leader is just way too weak into Doflamingo. Like you're dying before 10 Don every single game.
Mm-hmm. So Smoker
1.5.
1.5. Yeah. We're going to OP3. From OP3 we got just Nami and Katakuri, the usual
Yeah.
suspects.
Yeah, the two best OP3 leaders. Katakuri is in a worse spot than Nami, in my opinion.
Katakuri. Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
Nami struggles against Teach. Well, they both struggle against Teach and Doflamingo as the main one, but like Nami can like somewhat play around Teach a little bit better than Katakuri, and I think like just the deck surrounding it, like so other than Teach and Doffy is like I would say like Bonnie and Shanks and Lucci are still up there.
Yeah,
Which if it's like the removal Shanks, it is like I think it's gonna be Nami favored by far as long
absolutely.
as like yeah like you like the new 10 cost Roger could just come out of nowhere and kind of ruin your day. If you don't play around it, but like a seasoned Nami player can definitely play around it and not exactly like the best deck.
I don't think
Or like
Nami cares about the Roger anyway.
you
I
you do like in this new one to combat Blackbeard, you're playing stuff like I think it's called Brody or Budo, can't exactly remember the 2 cost blocker on KO Mills one, and you're playing
yeah.
Margaret. So you play a total of like 7 to 8 blockers in the deck
Mm-hmm.
come next set. But like if you play around it, there's like no reason why you should be dying to Roger, right?
Yeah.
Um, it's I wouldn't exactly say this is like the best meta contender, but like I could see it winning a regional by like a really good pilot. Um, so I would be inclined to put this in 1.5.
Do you think it's above Smoker or below Smoker? For me, it's
Uh,
above Smoker.
Above Smoker or below Smoker? I would say is below Smoker.
Below?
Um, Smoker Smoker is a lot better of a deck than what people think. I
You really
believe.
have faith in that deck, do you?
Um, yeah, because I think Smoker actually doesn't do terribly against everything in the meta. Like you're not losing to you don't have like a complete losing matchup, like into like Bonnie, Doffy, Shanks, Teach. I think it's like Luffy you might struggle a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Katakuri. Um,
Same thing as always.
the 3 main yellow decks, like mono yellow, are gonna be NL, Katakuri, and Vega Punk.
Yeah,
And I think Katakuri is probably the weakest
the
out
weak
of them.
bottom of the three.
Yeah, like a good player can just play around your triggers. It's not like oh I'm like a black player can just not swing into your life when they don't need to or whatever.
Exactly.
Um, it has a problem like against Doflamingo and Teach, like a lot of decks. Shanks is also could also potentially be a bit of a problem
Mm-hmm.
if they have like the new 2 cost counter. I think it's like a 3/3 that's like it rests itself minus something by 2k. Uh, you look confused.
No, which event are you talking about?
No, it's a 2k. It's a Shanks 2k that's like it rests itself, gives something minus like 2000
Oh
power
yeah, yeah,
or
yeah,
like
yeah,
1000
yeah.
power. Yeah, like with that, and then you can play like 10 cost Shanks if that's on the board, which like you can kind of predict like a 9 mom or like sorry a 10 mom
No,
coming
even
down.
even
You
even
just
the
play.
new red hair Gordon can do that. Just
Yeah,
play
you're
him.
swinging for like the thing with category over like other yellow decks is like you're swinging for 7 every turn,
Mm-hmm.
but like against Shanks you're swinging for 6 every turn.
Using it that's an easy 2K counter.
Yeah, so it struggles and you have like you struggle against Bonnie and BOI and like
Mm-hmm.
Lucci's your only favorable, really favorable matchup at the top of the meta. So I think this is like tier two, bottom tier two, top
But
of
like
tier
it's
three
tier
kind of
two,
deal.
tier two.
Yeah, yeah, bottom of tier two probably.
Mm-hmm. I see we're just skipping OP4 entirely. There's no relevant OP4 leaders in the metagame.
What's the most relevant one if you
I,
had to
I feel
pick?
like it's Rebecca.
Rebecca,
Rebecca.
Rebecca or Vivi? I think Vivi is it's okay. Red blue, you play it at Marco 5 life points.
I green purple Doflamingo to be the blue Doflamingo birdcage.
Yeah,
But that's about
yeah.
it. They're just gimmick decks in my opinion.
OP5. Bello Betty is a very interesting one.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think Velo Betty could be quite strong. Like not really, like not strong enough to be like a meta contender, but I would say it's like above category in the meta.
I feel like if you high roll this deck, you can win against everything. If you see all your like curve and
Of all
pieces.
your triggers, you're you're okay into Teach, but I think like Doflamingo is still very rough for you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because against like Teach, your car if they cannot remove characters the turn you play it, it could be very rough. But
Yeah.
other than that, there's like
Karasu is
you're
usually
okay into
bounced.
Luffy. Yeah, it's when attacking as well,
Yeah.
other than non-play. But like you'll struggle against like the Luffy's, the Shanks, like the Luccis
Mm-hmm.
and the Duffys. But
Yeah, the deck runs
I
out of
would still
steam
say
very fast.
yeah, you're not beating tier one decks, but like tier one any deck below tier one, I think you can easily stomp with the right pilot to the deck.
Mm-hmm.
I would be putting this higher than category slightly,
Yep.
probably.
Yeah, I agree. Purple Luffy, I think is the best of the Luffy trio that we have.
Yeah, definitely the best Luffy. The other two Luffys are kind of meme decks in their own right.
Yeah. They each do their own thing, but I think uh this purple Luffy does it best.
Yeah, the most generically strong one. It's like a 50-50 matchup
And
into
it's
everything
also
into the
five
meta.
lives compared to like 4 and 3.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of builds where they're like playing not they're not playing 4 9 cost Luffys anymore. The new
Mm,
secret from the set. Whereas a lot of them are now playing 3 of the 9 cost Charlotte Linden
yeah.
from OP08 to kind of deal with the Doflamingo matchup. Um, like an experienced purple Luffy player, I believe, has is favorable against Peach as well.
Yeah.
The problem is like if you play Luffy, you kind of just play it differently, where you don't swing into their life. You starve Teach for a while, and they essentially like discard all their cards out of their hand, so
Mm-hmm.
you can stick a 7 drop.
It sucks
Um,
that the new 9 cost secret his rush is stuck between behind on play. So
yeah,
it's
it's locked behind an on play, but I think like against Teach, mainly what you want to be doing is that you want to run them out of cards in hand. Like you can kind of starve them
mm-hmm.
for a while, um, and then you just eventually they run out of cards to be able to discard, and you can play Luffy Taro into Sangoro.
Yep.
Um, going second into Teach also hurts them a lot, because if you force Teach to leader effect on their 3 down turn, um, usually they win if like you're in 3 down, you would ramp to 4, play Zoro Zoro.
Mm-hmm.
However, if you're 4 down, you can ramp to 5 and play a Magellan, which if Teach does not want to be Magellan, the on KO effect is like way less relevant than it would be, purely because they have the new I think it's called Liberation. It
Yeah,
negates
liberation negates any
probably.
chaos.
Yeah. But nevertheless, probably one of the top 5 meta contenders of this format.
I think it's should be like top of tier 1.5.
I would put it higher probably.
Higher.
I think yeah, I would say this is like third, fourth deck, best deck.
Mm.
Like you have like Teach is up there, Teach, Doffy, Shanks,
Yeah.
like potentially Bonnie, Lucci. and then purple Luffy is like also in
I
question for
still
that one.
feel like Black Yellow Luffy is really good next set as well, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, every deck has its own problems, and BY
It's just
the
which deck
matchups
has the
when you
least
win are
problems.
pretty strong. Yeah. Okay. NL.
NL.
NL is in a very weird spot in the sense that I think you lose to all the top meta contenders,
Yeah,
but you'll beat everything below you. Like Pluffy, Shanks, Teach,
Teach especially.
and Bonnie. Yeah, and Bonnie are very hard matchups. But then if you go lower, you'd see like BY, Smoker, Vega Punk,
Mhm.
Doflamingo, and like decks like that. I believe the way forward for the NL deck is a Land of Wano package with
Hmm.
Hiyori, Olin, and Momonosuke to try to combat your Teach problem and your Shanks problem. Uh, Rush Shanks you'll eat Rush Shanks. Like that deck will not be NL, but the Control Shanks is a big problem just because of 10 cost Shanks. The one I think
The
OPO5.
KO.
It's
OPO 6.
OPO5. It was in OPO6.
OPO 6.
10 cost, 12k KO at 10k power. You can never put Dawn under any of your characters to swing into it. It has to be like, especially Raigo, and you don't want
Mhm.
to be doing that unless you have Hiyori in hand. Probably top of 1.5 or like bottom of 1.5, somewhere
Somewhere
in that.
there.
I think weaker than Smoker, but it's one of those decks that if you don't prepare for it, you're gonna lose to it. But if you prepare for it, like if you
It's
lose to it,
very
it's a
winnable.
skill check deck. Yeah, it's a skill check deck. If you lose to that, you're a bad player.
You think you're gonna try that next set?
First week, if I cannot get my hands on Blackbeard, I'll be playing Land of Wano NL,
Nice.
most likely.
Go ahead with OP6.
Yeah.
First off,
What's
uh,
what's
I just wanted to include it. I'm sorry. She should be in the irrelevant, but I just wanted to talk about how.
I don't think this was in the list of leaders I sent you earlier.
I just wanted to talk about how Uta now uses the red hair package. Just ram up to the Tenkos, ram up to Roger, and I feel like that's way better than the Uta we have now, but it's still nowhere near like meta relevant. But
You wouldn't. Red purple is like I would argue that that this leader is like could have potentially better than red purple Luffy. I think red purple
mhm,
Luffy is just like such a meme deck in its own right. You have a better Doflamingo matchup. Um,
mhm,
but being a four life leader nowadays just kind of sucks because like we have enough card pools for like mono leaders to be like really really strong. So like starting with
yeah,
one less life,
especially when
means
your
you have
leader
like
ability
less.
requires to trash a card as well.
Yeah, but you're ramping to like with all the purple decks, you're ramping to like 10 cost Shanks, right?
Turn 4
Red
going
purple.
second.
Um, like would you just cut the film package altogether? Like you can't
You
really
still
play
need to
double
you
searchers.
still need to run a bit of film because her leader effect.
Guild is like such a good card. You
Yeah,
can't really
you
not
can't
run
get rid
film.
of guild.
But like if you want to play red haired pirate stuff, it's like you're playing double searchers now with like two
Mhm.
cost Monkey D. Luffy and one cost Vita.
Yeah, it's good that the one
So
Kosuta
it's
is
like
also film, so you can trash her for leader effect.
yeah, stick that beside Whitebeard.
Yes.
Per one.
Perona. Also not
I
in the
think
list you sent me.
yeah, Perona is it's a very weird list. Like you can play like Fortress like any green deck, but there's no reason to, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're kind of you're playing it for the leader effect, which is like a worse card ability if you're playing Fortress.
But you're also
Um,
playing for the Ryuma and the Moria.
yeah, the Ryuma pops, sure, but I think it's Perona. Like in the concept is like you would be having a very good Doflamingo matchup because you're resting things and
Mm-hmm.
KOing things with the cost of 4. But like realistically, you're not doing that much.
I feel like this deck needs to see their pieces like so perfectly that it.
A lot of your reduction, like the main way to like your reduction works is that like Atsuru, like comes out a lot, you want to be playing that out.
Mm-hmm.
And like obviously like you can be my samurai, you can rest the Suru or whatever, but like your Moria is very weak. And then like the 5 cost Sabu sure is strong, but any black deck can be playing the 8 cost Sabu
Yeah.
to try to deal with Doflamingo.
Yeah, there's
It
just some
has
black decks that do what she does, but a lot better.
a good black deck I believe has to be monocolored, or else
Yeah,
you get rushed down way too easily.
definitely. I feel like I'll
Mm,
stick her into tier 4.
Yeah, better than Whitebeard for sure.
So, next one, Yamato. What do you think about Yamato?
Yamato, it's within like the Reiju Zoro kind of deck, where it's like it's very aggressive. But the problem with Yamato, I feel, is that into Teach, sure it's good, but Teach does play small blockers, and late game when the 10 cost Teach hits the board, you're just really not doing anything.
Mm-hmm.
Your Kikunojos are not doing anything. Like the heal one, Teach doesn't really
Yeah,
care, and your
Liberation.
4 cost makes it very very easy for Teach to clear. Um, and then the Fortress build Fortress build just loses to everything that's not Doflamingo. Because your Doflamingo matchup is very very rough, and so is your Purple Luffy.
I mean, if Doflamingo starts running Red Rocks, I think the Fortress build also falls off.
Yeah, which I believe Doflamingo should probably be playing Red Rocks.
Yep.
With the amount of like massive 10-drop blockers, -1000 near board and everything. But it's within those range of aggro decks, right? Like Lord, Zoro, Yamato, Betty. Yeah. Let's
Mm-hmm.
just go ahead and stick that.
Stick her in
Probably top of tier 3.
top tier 3.
Yeah, top of tier 3. Yeah.
Okay.
Just because it's like a lot easier to pilot than Red Ring Law as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Red Ring Law is
She,
too many
Yamato
misplays.
is very straightforward.
Yeah.
Reiju? I don't believe she gets anything new. That's it.
You get the generically good purple Gavel. I don't think that's leader locked.
Gabo.
Not Gavel, what's it called?
Giant. Gum Gum
Giant.
Giant.
Yeah, is that
Yeah.
leader locked?
Not sure.
Yeah, not sure. If it's not, like you don't really care about the Dom -2 because you're playing Black Maria anyway. But you don't get anything new. Um, all your
It's
effects are
locked
locked
to
behind an on
Strawcut
play, I
Crew
believe.
type.
Oh, okay. All your stuff is locked behind on plays as well. I think like the EGG gains rush on an on play. So you're not having the good best teach matchup.
Yeah.
Yeah, your Doflamingo matchup is okay if you see like Porch EGGs. It's kind of like Jinbei Weevil, but you can clear their board. Um, it's probably the best aggro deck I believe that's in there.
Mm-hmm.
Betty is kind of like more mid-ranged.
I feel like
Yeah,
just
I would
Reiju has
classify
more
it
options.
you have more options, but those options are typically just worse than what Betty can do. I think Betty can win a game through like pure RNG, like 3 big triggers out of life, and then
Yeah.
maybe like a 4 cost blocker Sanji at the bottom.
Well, Reiju feels like she can do nothing if she doesn't see stage.
Yeah, you have the high roll, but I think it's like better than Yamato and Zoro.
Mm-hmm.
Because the bodies you play behind are still quite big, but
I feel like I would stick her in tier 2. Like bottom of tier 2.
okay. Gecko Moria.
Yeah.
Um,
That leader has fallen off very, very, very much.
you don't have the reduction, like there's no built-in reduction.
No.
On the leader, on on the other ones. You're kind of like you're doing what Doflamingo is doing, but you're playing like you're discarding a card.
Mm-hmm.
You have more consistency from Engrave, sure. Like the problem is like you cannot play Tempest Kick in the deck. Or
Yeah.
you can play it, it just won't do anything unless you see Cindy, because you're bottom decking 2 cards, ideally every turn. You're a tempo deck, but like you're losing to like other black decks.
The
It's very
Glacier
bad
Eruption
against.
ban really hit the deck hard.
Yeah, like the cycle really mattered in Moria.
Do you think that event might come back in the future?
I think like just that whole ban list in general, it was like Sakazuki, Great Eruption, and Reject, right? What
Yeah.
was banned?
Yeah, those 3.
I think Great Eruption is Great Eruption and Sakazuki can both come back. Reject cannot.
The reject was
I
pretty
think
strong.
like Sakazuki, like in the current meta, if you were like just to stick it into 010, no 10 09,
Mm-hmm.
you struggle against Doflamingo because you've always struggled against Doflamingo, and you'll struggle against Purple Luffy as well. Even though like back in the day you might have beat Purple Luffy, but like the deck's gotten so much more tools, um, that it'll just roll over you. Um, the deck's always struggled with Doflamingo even back when it was in its prime.
I
So I
don't think
think this
so.
was like
No, not in those times. Great Eruption was way
no,
too strong.
not in the Moria time, but like before that, you have always struggled into Doflamingo.
Mm-hmm.
Like 4 costs are really awkward for you to remove as Sakazuki.
Yeah.
If you think of like if you think your deck is built to remove a 4 cost and your deck is built to remove a 5 cost along with a 3 cost. If you think like Rebecca Lucci Hina,
Mm-hmm.
that combo cannot remove 2 4 cost units.
Yeah.
Um, and now like it's just even more consistent, right? Um, Doflamingo, like you used to just not be able to hit Doflamingo ever. You keep swinging at his board. Now it's the same problem. And being a 4 life leader, you get rushed down by like a lot of decks. I think like now even NL can beat Doflamingo, not Doflamingo, Sakazuki.
Yeah. 4 life leaders are really, really hard
Yeah.
pivot.
Blue back is strong, but I don't think Saka is as big as a problem as something like Lucci is. I think like
Red,
Lucci
purple,
right
all.
now, yeah. The only thing like Saka does better than what Lucci does is like
Bottom decks
um, bottom decks,
instead of
but
chaos.
you're a weaker leader. Your Moria combo is weaker. You're not doing stupid things like Rebecca play Spandine, play Lucci for 8 But yeah,
You get to play
Moria.
stage though.
Going back to Moria, I think it's like I would kind of put it where Yamato, Law, and Zoro are.
Yeah, yeah. Moria's not doing much, but it still can be pretty strong. Just
Yeah,
because a black leader with 5 lives.
yeah. Mono black that can play Moria is always pretty good, but being only clearing one body a turn is it definitely hurts.
Dragon. Moving on to OP7.
Dragon.
Ye-
I don't think Dragon is real, to be honest, unless you have
Dragon.
something to say about the deck.
Dragon is not very real. I just wanted to include it because it was like very recent. I feel like this deck
Yeah,
becomes better when the new starter deck comes out, like the starter deck 21.
it's very similar leader abilities. But I
Mm-hmm.
think like the new starter deck is actually a lot better than Dragon. It's similar abilities, but it's just a lot stronger, I think.
Yeah.
Because Dragon, you need something to attach the Dawn to something in the first place, where Purple Luffy is just kind of the new Luffy is kind of just giving you more and more Dawn.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not something we have to worry about until like OP10.
Yeah. More like the middle of it.
Yeah,
Just
Dragon, yeah, stick it to the bottom. It's not a real deck.
uh, Jewelry Bonnie, bottom green.
Bonnie, yeah, mono green. It's definitely the best mono green deck that we have.
Mm-hmm.
Very generic. I actually think that this is probably the best, one of the best decks in the format, top 5 tier 1.
Mm. Okay.
Um, you're in like your spot in the meta is like you beat Doflamingo, depending on the Doflamingo build. You beat Shanks, depending on the Shanks build. You beat Teach. I think you beat Teach. Period. I think that deck is just good into Teach.
Yeah, a lot of 5 costs that teach service against.
Yeah, five cost is like annoying for Teach. Also, like you have like when attacking effects.
A lot. Yeah.
Teach cannot really afford to like discard a card every turn. Um, for you, and then your leader effect is just in general just good against Teach as well.
Mm-hmm.
I would say I would like to think it's probably the fourth or fifth best deck. Kind of fighting for that fourth slot with Purple Luffy. Um, But overall, I would say it's probably the fourth
Still
best
loses
deck.
to Lucci, but he has like good
You lose
matchup
to
to like
yeah,
most of the other meta
you lose
contenders.
to Lucci, but you like the trade off is you beat like Blackbeard and BY and Duffy.
That's pretty
Yeah.
strong. Next
Foxy.
up,
Foxy recently won a flagship.
yeah, which is crazy
Um,
to think about.
it 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 looks really weird, um, because like you have to. It's like a double searcher package again, where you're playing like Luffy, Taro, Sangoro, and Zoro.
Yeah, I've seen
But
those as well.
you're also playing like Porsche, the Choppers, Itomi Mizu, and the 7 cost Foxy. I think it plays like some number of Pickles and Gion as well, which
And don't forget the
don't
Foxy has
forget.
the I'm Invincible event, like restun the leader.
Yes, but only if his Dawn is less than yours by like 3 or something like that.
Yeah, you leader effect -3.
Yeah, I'm Invincible is it's a good event. It catches people off guard and it helps you go for a game. But um, I
uh,
don't know how the deck fares into Teach. Can't say I've tested too much against it.
I've
It's
not
not
seen
really a deck
much.
that's on my radar. But I just from like seeing the way it plays and how good it can be against like Doflamingo and stuff, I would kind of say this is like tier 2, probably the highest tier 2 deck we have at the moment.
We've not seen most of these leaders like win a flagship. I don't think so.
Betty, Betty won one,
Yeah,
maybe.
that's why she's there.
Yeah.
uh,
Um,
Next up,
Rob
Lucci,
Lucci,
the second best deck of Pop 7.
second best deck of OP. What did you say?
7.
OP. What was the best deck of OP7?
Bonnie?
I would
In
say
OP9, in OP9.
in OP9. Um, if it's like a very teach centric meta, I think Lucci will struggle. But I think like Lucci is still good against everything else.
Hmm.
Um, which is like if you have like such a terrible matchup against Teach, but you're good in everything else, I think you can probably go to the very top of 1.5.
You think it wins against like a Rush Shanks build? I don't think so.
I think Rush Shanks, um, if Lucci just says, okay, I'm not gonna care about Teach as a deck, I'm just gonna build a deck for the tournament, and I'm hopefully gonna dodge every single Teach player, or play less than 2. Right? You can play 2 Teach, and then still top if you win everything else.
Yeah.
Um, I think Lucci can beat Shanks. Yeah, I don't think like a good Lucci player um won't struggle against aggro decks. You know, like even now, like you're thinking Zoro and Vega Punk as like the 2 premier aggro decks of our current format. Lucci is favored against both. A good Lucci player should never get run over, right?
That's true.
Shout out to him. I don't know. That game's gonna be uploaded in a few days. Ran over twice in 3 minutes by Vega Punk. Um, but yeah, I would say top of 1.5. It's definitely there, and if you just if you play 10 rounds at a regional and dodge Teach 10 rounds, you can definitely win that regional. Just don't prepare for Teach, dodge it 10 rounds, you win that regional,
You still
100%.
lose to the likes of Black Hero Luffy as well, right?
The things that you're playing to beat, to your the things you put in your deck to beat Teach also beats BY,
Mm-hmm.
in like 9 cost Kaido, and I think like BY is actually in like a way worse spot than Lucci is, just because of like a lot of new cards that's come out. Like off the top of my head, Roger is a very big problem for the deck. If you want to stay on 9k 1 life, it means your opponent has to leave you on 1 life, and then you have to like Hiyori or like you're in some way to already
No, the
transform.
last life.
Without, yeah, so you can't go down to 0 and then like use leader effect go to 9. Like a good BY can still definitely do it, right? But it's definitely a lot harder than Lucci.
Agreed.
Up next,
Vegapunk?
Vegapunk, I think it has the potential to be the best yellow leader of this set. When I say Vega Punk, I'm thinking like I'm talking about the control one with like Darashi,
Yamato.
yeah, Yamato, Katakuri, and like you can. The problem with it is inconsistency, where you cannot search your high end, but you play a lot of like you have draws and search. You have like Lilith, Darashi can search out every single one of your units plus Raigo, and then if you want to play the new 6 cost Robin, I think is a 6/6 1K counter.
It's a very strong card.
It's like on play if your opponent has 3 or more life, trash one of them. And it has a trigger. I'm not too sure what the trigger is actually, but it does have a trigger, so you can search it off of Darashi. It's in like a kind of like a similar situation with NL, but you have like a better teach matchup. Against like all the Luffy's, it's like always 50-50. The deck is really, really hard to play, especially the control version. Like one misplay will lose you the entire game, which is like the only thing I think only reason why I would put this deck under NL.
It has a very, very high skill ceiling.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
played perfectly, it's good, but no, I would still put it in like 1.5. I think it can definitely win the regional, and I wouldn't be surprised if it wins one.
It won the regional in Europe like last year, didn't it? Carta
Yeah,
Magic.
no, it won a treasure cup,
Treasure
but
Cup,
that was
Treasure
like
Cup.
that was like the aggro build with like I think it was like 6 cost Big Mom, 5 cost Ace. I think it was
Atlas.
playing like yeah, it was playing Alice is a crazy card. You wouldn't think so by just reading it because it's like the old black 5 cost Virgo that just can't be destroyed by battle, but it's crazy how much it does in that deck.
Let's
Yeah.
move into OP8.
Yeah, we've included all the OP8 lead. Let's do those at the end. Let's go through structure decks first.
Structure decks? Okay.
Structure deck leaders. Yeah, let's do structure deck leaders.
First, red, purple, Luffy.
Yeah. Oh, we've talked about a lot of like red, purple, Luffy already. But, I'm not a big fan of this deck.
Super strong.
It's good against Shank, but yeah, you can put it there. I don't think
the new one cost Income Giant just makes it insanely good. In my
it's
opinion.
one of those decks that like the matchups you win are really good for you, but like it's a bit of I think it's like 3 life leaders on. Despite your being like 6K, like you only beat Shanks. So like if the format develops to a point where it's all Shanks and nothing else, I think you're in a very good spot. But it's not like you're only playing one body a turn, even if you're playing early. So like a lot of decks can just remove with like red rocks, Rygos, or black just fucking popping it. But yeah. Red Purple Kid is
it got a lot of
actually,
support. That's it.
I'm not familiar with that leader at all. I'm not completely sure what support that it got in this new set.
It got a bunch of support, but I don't think it's still enough to like do anything very relevant to the meta.
It's 5 life, right?
It is 5 life, like dual core leader. But
like the ability is like it has like minus 1,000
to
power.
your if you have 4 or more lives.
It's on your turn or your opponent's turn?
On your turn.
On your turn. That's less bad than if it would be on your opponent's turn.
Yeah.
But and still kind of bad.
When attacking, don't -1 plus 2,000 power.
Yeah,
I feel like there's red purple leaders are just do it better.
Actually, that deck did just win. I think like in the US or something, or somewhere it won like an OP9 tournament already in the East. Nice. Yeah. I don't know if that's just luck, but I'm gonna think that it's just luck because I don't think that deck is very.
We've not seen much of that deck, to be honest.
Yeah, probably like maybe I would say like maybe better than Moria, like if I had to take a guess, but like I don't think it'll beat like Zoro or Yamato or anything. I don't think that deck is real.
We'll see what people can cook with it. Shout out to Lewis. Green Uta. Doesn't get anything new, to be honest. Just a very balanced leader, in my opinion.
Your deck the 2 best decks of the format is what I would consider is like Doflamingo and Teach. You have a very, very rough Doflamingo matchup. And Teach, I would I would
Yeah,
believe
you have to
teaches
play
you.
8-cost kids for the Dolphin matchup.
Yeah, and if like any blue event kind of just like ruins you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like Grappled Red Rock, and then like Doffy just goes so fast. And against Teach, like your 7 Dom play is your strongest 7 Dom play is what? Hey, this the 7 drop no effect. Uh, Teach is kind of like Lucci in the sense that whereas like you're controlling the board, except Lucci is dealing with your board after it comes out, where Teach is just preventing them from you from
Exactly, yeah.
developing it in the first place.
Uh,
I think it's quite weak.
has a
Probably
really good matchup against Shanks, I'm just gonna say.
against Shanks.
Yeah, it goes way too
Yeah,
wide
you
for
go
Shanks.
you're allowed to go very wide against Shanks. Um, where to the point where the -1k just doesn't do anything,
Mm-hmm.
and your leader is swinging for 6 every turn anyway, so you can draw a card.
Yep. So the leader
Um,
effect is just irrelevant for Shanks most
yeah,
of the time.
like the best thing about the deck is that it's consistency.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
being consistent, but it's just too weak to do anything. I would put this just like tier 4, like better than Perona, but like yeah,
Mm-hmm.
worse than everything else.
Black Yellow Luffy. I still feel like that this leader is gonna be really strong. Like you said, if he doesn't see Blackbeards.
The thing is, you lose to other things in the meta.
You lose to Bonnie.
You lose to Purple Luffy as well.
Mm-hmm. Especially if
The
they run
deck just goes
Magellans.
too fast. Yeah, and then you lose to like if you look here like in 1.5, you're losing to NL. You're losing to Vega Punk. You're
Mm-hmm.
losing to Nami, and you can lose to Smoker.
Yeah, Tashigi trashes you.
Yeah, and even like a lot of the aggro red decks, like when a Roger gets slammed down, you're just in such a bad spot. Sure, you're a 90 leader, but that's a board of unplayable red
Roger
decks.
really killed that deck.
Yeah, it's like it's still a good deck if you like can dodge everything. Like so it's probably still like bottom of 1.5. Like you could still win with it, but it's just a very hard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the deck takes a very skilled pilot as well.
I feel like it could be like bottom 1.5. We have a lot of representative here in the West. Of like
There
good
is a
Black Yellow Luffy
lot of
players.
good BY players in Europe, but I as you can't outskill a 10 cost Roger when you're on 0.
That's true.
There's nothing to be done. Like even the new 10 cost Shanks, like your whole board is minus, and it's like a big body that you cannot get rid of. Like you struggle to remove 10 cost. You can remove 9 cost with like Ice Age or
Ice
Kuzan,
Age, yeah.
but you cannot remove a 10 cost with like double reduction.
Yep. Next up, 3-2 I Luffy.
3D2i. This is not as bad as Moria, but it's like
Still worse
not
than Lucien Smoker.
yeah, like by far. I actually think Smoker is a really good deck next set just because of its each matchup.
Tashigi is really good.
Yeah, this mono, you're 6k, but it doesn't matter. I don't think the deck is strong enough to keep up with anything. Like the Luffy's, you're not the other Luffy's, you're not keeping up with at all.
Mm-hmm.
You just go
No
way too
way.
fast.
Blue promo Luffy.
Like I don't even know what that card does.
Draw next one when attacking if you have 3 or less cards in hand, draw one.
Yeah, it's not doing anything. Like, get that off my screen.
Blue Black Sakazuki.
Blue Black Sakazuki.
Do you think he
Put me on
can
the spot
sneak
here.
in somewhere in like Top Cut?
In Top Cut, no. Can it win at locals? Sure, keep it at locals.
Keep it local bottom.
Keep it at locals if you're a good Blue Black Sakazuki player, or else don't touch it.
We don't even have this yet.
Law. I don't think the law is like. It's way worse than the Sakazuki. I think like the Sakazuki is way more.
Yeah. Low got completely destroyed with the new promo.
Yes. I thought like the Saka promo was bad, but like
Until you saw the
the
law.
law's way worse. Yeah. Do you know what, Chris? You'll play the Blue Black. You'll give Blue Black a try.
Sure.
Yeah. You can play it next set.
We're
We're on to the 08 leaders.
Oh wait, yeah.
Yeah.
Chopper.
Yeah,
I feel like that's
there's
the weakest 08 leader. Not
yeah,
to,
Chopper is not real.
not
Um,
really much to say about him.
yeah,
Just
definitely just
a worse
unplayable.
Zoro with 4 lives.
You can play Hody.
You could play Cody, yeah.
That's locked behind the non-play.
Yeah. Yeah, but I feel
I
like
think
there's no really like time to play a
going to
Cody in a
another
4 life.
going to another leader that's also not real. King.
Ah, okay.
Wrong deck, but wrong deck.
Okay.
I
Very.
think King is you struggle. You struggle a lot against just in general.
It's
Like when
very
we first
slow.
saw like the Kaido Linlin play Sabo play Black Maria, like that whole combo,
Hmm.
it's Q combo, way too
Very
slow.
inconsistent.
Four life leader just doesn't do enough. You need to be like a really broken ability to be a good 4 life leader.
Okay.
And then Kalgara.
Kogara
Kalgara.
still strong despite not getting much support.
So like the way like the Kalgara deck is kind of built, it feels like you kind of play like you want to be playing like Whitebeard, where you keep a big hand, but you go like way wider.
Mm-hmm.
With like a lot of counter events in hand. But like the way like the deck actually is that if you try to do that against like any of the meta decks, like Blue Doffy, they just putting you against Purple Luffy, they play out bigger guys and they also go just as wide. If not, they go faster than you. Bonnie can rest your leader every turn and just rest one of your tall guys. I think the deck is actually okay into Teach because it's like you beat Teach, but that's it.
That's about it, yeah. I feel like it's like
Um,
somewhere in tier
yeah,
3.
somewhere like bottom three, high four kind of deal.
Yeah.
And then
Pudding.
Puddin is weak.
Pudding is very.
Um,
It does the same thing every time.
you lose to you can beat Bonnie, right? Like the other big decks, Peach and Peach, Purple Luffy, and um, Doflamingo.
Mm-hmm.
Doflamingo is atrocious. You should not like. You should never lose to that deck.
Like,
Purple
absolutely.
Luffy. Purple Luffy is like Pudding wants to go first. So like on your 3 down turn, you ramp to 4. Next turn you go to 6, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like, and you need to take a life to play category to be able to ramp twice to 10. Against Purple Luffy, if they're playing Magellan, you go 5, you swing 5, they'll take it. You ramp to 5, play Magellan, and next turn Pudding will be on 5 down rather than the 6.
Yeah.
And then like what are you doing on 5 down on Pudding? Like if you have best case scenario, you have a Bond clay in hand, you have no way to you go to 6, you have no way to flip your life face down.
No.
Worst case scenario, you're swing for 10. Like that deck is so weak. I would say like top of tier 4. Uh yeah. You're beating like other um other decks. You beat Lucci, sure. You beat NL, sure. You beat Control Vega Punk. You beat BY, sure. But like you're not contending with anything
Like
at the
top tier
top of the
1.
meta. Yeah. Well, it is a very simple deck, and if you high roll your matchups, if you high roll your matchups right, you could do very well.
Yeah.
Uh, Very easy deck, simple to pilot, but not a lot of options. You can't really do much with the deck. Um, Kara, um, Kara runs into doesn't actually have a big Blackbeard problem,
Mm-hmm.
which is interesting. But you have like a purple Luffy and I think Shanks problem.
Purple
Doffy
Luffy
has
definitely.
always been 50-50. Like event, like same with Bonnie, and then like event Doffy will ruin your day. Um, but you can tech for Doffy like if you want to play like like the 6 cost Kree that kills 2 rested 4 costs. Um, you could in theory perma freeze the Jesus Burgess from Blackbeard as well
Mm-hmm.
if a 5 cost card gets to stick.
Which is
But
very
like I don't think
unusual.
the deck is like nowhere near as good um
The other mono green deck.
as good as it was in 08 because I think like I was actually in an okay spot in 08 where like you have room to play like 5 cost Bonnies so like you can contend with yellow decks playing big drops.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I was in the previous set. I think it was the second best leader out of that set. I still think is the second best leader out of the previous set.
You think so?
But yeah, because like if you're thinking the meta, yes. But like if it's in a vacuum, pudding just reads so broken. But because of the meta, the pudding just can't do much.
Mm-hmm. Sure, sure.
Because like Kara still has an okay Bonnie matchup, and then like you struggle against black always. Like just because like you're okay in the Doffy, right? It's like the only deck other than Marco that's like okay in the Doffy. I would be putting this like a tier 3 probably, top of tier 3. Yeah, tier 2 is way too high.
Top of tier
Next up,
3.
Marco.
Marco.
Oh,
Did Marco
Marco, I think.
did Marco get something new in OP9?
Well, you're playing all the generically good red cards, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Marco really changes. Um, I think like you will struggle against Blackbeard quite a bit. You being 4 life and you not having any on plays with like Sanji and stuff.
Yeah.
But everything else kind of stays the same. I'm not too sure about its Shanks matchup. No.
I
I
feel I
think you
feel I feel
might
like it has a very bad Shanks matchup. It just Shanks control
rush it.
does. Um,
You're not gonna beat Rush Shanks.
no.
I think you might beat Shanks control, depending on what high ends they see and what they're playing. Because it's like Shanks control is kind of like Lucci, but you're like a lot more aggressive. Because like you're still playing like the big 10 cost rush cards.
And you're always swinging for 6, so Shanks doesn't matter.
Yeah, I would put this like above, maybe like tier 2, top of tier 2 probably.
Top tier. Oh, that's it.
Top of tier
Like the
2, because
middle.
like you can always stack like against Shanks. It's you can still play like your big Sanji combo.
Mm-hmm.
You're still okay against Doflamingo because you're like clearing board very easily.
Let's go next.
PRB Sanji.
Shelby Sanji, the rush.
Um,
People had very high expectation for this leader.
I didn't. Mono red rush leader. It's like it's whatever, man. Like
It plays one guy to 10 swings.
if you want to win your pre-release, play that leader, or else leave it at home.
That's about it.
I
said
probably like Moria tier. It's not that bad, but like there's like a big removal build. I don't know if you've seen it. It's like you play like 4 Gordons, 4 Raise Maxes. You play like the Pell, the Robin, and you just like try to play like red purple all used to. Except you're popping things.
And you're swinging.
And you have no Reiju. Yeah, but I think the deck that specific version is actually really good against the Doflamingo.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. There's a 6-cost promo Shanks as well that's coming out. It's like when attacking minus something by 1k, trash like a red card from your hand and then draw a card, which gives this deck like the kind of the consistency it needed. And then it giving a minus 1k against Doflamingo is actually quite relevant because your Pell pops a 4 or less. So you can like swing over something and then like minus something, and Pell can swing over something and pop a guy.
Yep.
So I mean, like the deck could do stuff, but like you need to hire with the deck to be able to do anything. And we're on to OP8.
OP9.
OP9, sorry. Let's get like the non-real decks out of the way.
Yeah.
Lim and Robin. Lim is definitely the worst one.
Yeah. She's doing stuff in OP10 where she gets more support, but
as of
now,
I've just seen the deck ramp to Kaido and that's all. That's
and 9 Kozo.
Yeah, like, yeah, it's
that's about it.
Bottom of the barrel, tier 5. Like,
I feel like Robin has more of a chance to show up.
There was what was it? Play Kaido Linlin. Ramp to Kaido Linlin, but you get to play it as active this time.
Yeah.
The deck just needs more support. There's no like great high end for the deck because like if you swing at your opponent every time it's not your leader, they're just gonna take it, and they're gonna counter all the ones with your leader.
Yeah.
Like sure, the 6-cost Robin is good, but it's like it's almost better in other decks that are not your deck. There's like there was a Q combo where it was like um, with Kaido and Linden, and then
Play
you play with
two
Kikunojo
Kikunojas or
and then the
Hawkins.
new Hawkins. Yeah, and then what you heal for 3, and you trash for 2,
Yeah. That's
and then
crazy. And you
you
swing
then
for
you OP
12
swing for 12.
while
Dominate a set.
clearing their board. Oof.
It's way too situational.
Very
Um,
situational. Still strong
better than
nonetheless.
Lim, but probably like worse than Perona. Like maybe tier 4.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Let's get
Buggy.
Buggy. Buggy doesn't
Buggy,
become a real deck until the promo comes out, right?
even when the promo comes out, it's still very, very hard to play into everything that's not Blue Doflamingo or
Mm-hmm.
Teach. You have like a pretty good Teach matchup if you have 10 drop in hand. Teach can definitely struggle into you. After 5 Dawn, Teach is basically vanilla leader that cannot do anything unless they have unless you let them like establish like a Laboon plus Van Augur
Yeah.
already. Then they like after 5 Dawn, like it's very hard to leader effect as Teach. Um, you have to like kind of think, oh, can I deal with like a 7 drop and 4 drop coming out at the same time, or do I have to
Or
deal with a big 10
a
drop?
big 10 drop, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like you kind of just have to accept the 10 drop flying out at you. Where else, like if Buggy goes way too wide, you're never winning anyway.
Mm-hmm. I feel
I
like
would be
like
hmm?
3 or
Yeah,
bottom.
probably like midway, better than 3D, better than Yamato. Yeah, maybe there, somewhere around there. I
Somewhere
don't think
there.
it's without the promo, it's not great.
Yeah, if he gets a promo, I think it goes like up a tier. But for now.
Yeah, with a promo, the deck is not doing anything.
Mm-hmm.
Black purple Luffy.
Black purple Luffy.
I think this deck is the second best Luffy leader, like black, purple Luffy leader.
Yeah, definitely.
Because the build for it is rush to gear like gear
Rush to
5.
gear 5.
Um,
And you
you
still have
only have one
access to
effective.
Moria. You still have access to the new event.
Your Moria is quite weak, right? You're playing out Frankie. What are you playing out? Rested the Searcher
Searcher,
Law.
I guess, yeah.
Searcher Law.
Still, Amoria is Amoria.
Yeah, it's still it's a lot of value, but the Moria is weak, but it is like the
there.
Moria for
It
value,
is
right?
there.
Yeah. I think it's way stronger than Red Purple, but I've never been a fan of Red Purple Luffy.
I feel like it's bottom
What?
tier 1.5.
Yeah, it could be like it could definitely win like a treasure cup or a regional.
Mm-hmm.
But they'll have to hire all right. Same with
You
all the
have to
tier
see your
1
pieces,
point five
especially
decks.
your early ramp.
Yeah, exactly. Um, and then Shanks.
Yeah, we're talking about both of these leaders already a lot.
Yeah, the meta is kind of revolving around Shanks and Blackbeard. I would be saying Shanks is the third best leader of
mm-hmm.
this set. It's very versatile. You can beat everything. You just have to
Depending
build a
on
different deck
your
for it.
build, right? There's a
Yeah,
lot
you
of
have
builds for Shanks.
builds that beat Doffy, loses to Teach. Builds that beat Teach, loses to Doffy.
Yeah.
And
It's
there was
hard to
a
find that middle ground, which like everyone
there's a
seeks
two
for.
cost event. It was a Red Hawk, the counter event plus
Yeah, Red
4K,
Hawk.
pop of 4K. Yeah, that event when I first saw like the flagship list that
Mm-hmm.
one with it, it was like that's a really good tech for Doffy.
It's an interesting tech, and it's still a 4K counter nonetheless.
Yeah, like you go second, they swing for 7, play out a guy, okay, minus the guy, pop it, like it's insane.
Yeah.
Only get punished if it's like Weevil or Boa.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, definitely.
Teach the big bad of next format.
The big
I
bad
think I think Teach is the best deck coming out of next set.
of next set,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, no, just in general,
In
the best
general,
deck of next set. Yeah, I'm not like the Dobby deck is good, but I don't think like even now, all the decks surrounding it are beating it. Like Lucci, BY, and L Bonnie are all beating Doffy.
hmm.
The difference between like Doffy and Lucci for this meta is that like people have successfully targeted Doffy as a deck. So like the counters that you bring to beat Doffy actually beat Doffy, but the counters that you bring to beat Lucci or losing to other stuff.
Yeah.
Right. That's why we have our kind of like circle of like Bonnie, Lucci, and BY.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of at the end of our OP8 meta. Which I think is the same thing with Blackbeard. Whereas like Blackbeard will be Lucci, Lucci will be stuff like Shanks and Bonnie, and Shanks and Bonnie will be Peach.
It's gonna be a very interesting method on the rest. At least
Yeah.
circle.
But I think like the most generically strong one is Blackbeard. It's like definitely a very skillful deck. It
You
might not
have to
look
know
it
all
the
your
way deck.
matchups. Right.
Yeah, like discarding a random card like off of your leader effect when you're not meant to just makes you so much in the long run.
Mm-hmm.
But like you have some like very very favorable matchups like Nami and
NL.
NL and Lucci to an extent, where they just have no way to ever beat you.
Yeah. I guess that wraps it up, right?
Yeah, that wraps it up.
That wraps it up. Okay. Thank you guys so much for watching. Leave us your thoughts down below. I guess like, subscribe. I hope you enjoyed this
And
video.
comment.
And comment. I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you guys next
We have
time.
a very special video coming out.
Oh yeah,
Next
we
week.
do. We do.
I
Look
think.
forward to that.
Yeah. Till then.
Till
See
then.
yous.
Bye.